Subscribe now and press the bell icon. Never miss an update.
Today I want to share my observations of therapeutic communities and the philosophical underpinnings of what makes our treatment programs so very special. Let me begin by a quote from the Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu, and I quote, "Enabling man to do right, disabling him to do wrong, created human isolation, family fragmentation, interpersonal alienation, and a loss of connection." The therapeutic community is a healing force. The basis of that force has been described by many. Let me attempt to describe some of the salient ingredients. First and foremost is the belief that change is possible, that one can overcome adversity, that one must take personal responsibility. Another major ingredient is the sense of family, of extended family, of being a part of something larger than oneself. Membership in a cause greater than any one individual. In the therapeutic community, there is a hierarchy of merit, not unlike the Buddhist philosophy, the Hindu philosophy. There's peer pressure, behavior shaping, industry, and labor for vocational training, and economic self-sufficiency. Education, the reading of great books, the discussion of philosophy and ideals, the enhancement of interpersonal skills, increased self-awareness, and certainly role modeling by recovery staff. The quotation from Lao Tzu appeared 48 years ago on the stationery of the first drug treatment therapeutic community called Synanon. Its founder believed deeply in transcendental philosophies ranging from Emerson and Thoreau, Confucius and Buddha. Do first things first and the rest will follow. Act right and you will feel right. Do good and you will be good. Early lessons included working together, pondering spiritual and ethical questions, disclosing honest feelings, learning about life and the community. Therapeutic communities were developed well over 60 years ago, perhaps even longer, in response to a problem that was created through a growing emphasis on individuality and competitiveness, and a preoccupation with technology and power. Such individuality was at the expense of interdependence. Interdependence was at the expense of collectiveness. This growing trend towards competition was followed at the expense of cooperation. The emphasis to achieve, regardless of the human cost, the emphasis on the bottom line, regardless of how it was achieved, began to result in large segments of our communities feeling alienated, separated, and alone. With regards to peer pressure, there is the Confucian tradition of Pao, or the Golden Rule, which is used in interpersonal and social interactions. Treat others as one wishes to be treated. Lastly, there's the tradition and the value of recovered staff, the role models who demonstrate not only that it can be done, but more important, that it is worth doing. Therapeutic communities teach that one must be restrained, one must behave responsibly towards self and others. It is a place of sanctuary where deep feelings can be expressed without hesitation. There is a place for anger, a place for fear. There's a place to share pain within the context of this extended family by not repressing feelings, but rather learning to express feelings in constructive and meaningful ways. Sharing this pain with others similarly afflicted reduces the sense of isolation, the alienation from families, and the disconnection from the community. By nature, we're pretty much alike. It is learning and practice that sets us apart. Or perhaps what we become depends not on conditions, but rather on decisions. Take the example of Viktor Frankl. Viktor Frankl was an Austrian psychologist who survived the death camps of Nazi Germany. The Hitler regime took virtually everything away from him: his family, his home, his medical practice. Yet he found within himself the capacity to rise above the circumstances and survive when so many others did not. He began to ask what made it possible for people to overcome dire adversity. He looked at several factors: health, vitality, family structure, intelligence, and survival skills. None of these factors was significant. The single most compelling factor was a sense of future vision, or the fundamental conviction that there was a purpose to life that was yet to be fulfilled. This vision is the best manifestation of creative imagination, and it is the primary motivation of human action. It is the ability to see beyond present reality. It gives us the capacity to live out of our imagination instead of living out of our memory. Some people are conditioned and determined by outward circumstances. When we're faced with difficult problems, we're also faced with a fundamental decision. Do we give in? Do we give up? Or do we stand up to our problems? Our real success in life is largely determined by how well we deal with adversity, whether we run from it or face up to it, whether we shirk from it or whether we surrender to it or triumph over it. The core of all therapeutic communities and successful social services is to act as if that by doing so, one can overcome adversity and become whole. Mutual exchange fosters respect for courage, respect for the daily struggle, respect for the effort to overcome, to commit to the future. Second is the development of personal responsibility. Third is the development of empathy and compassion. And finally, the development of a higher purpose for our lives. The search for meaning beyond the temporal, the belief in transformation and productivity, ethics and achievement, the appreciation of family, and finally dreams that make the heart full. In summary, the therapeutic community began with a philosophical and spiritual. The mandate was do things first and the rest will follow. Act as if your life depended on it. In groups, the emphasis was to disclose your feelings, your fears, challenge and comfort your peers, talk intensely about philosophy, spiritual principles, psychology, great ideas, the meaning of life and existence. In work, perform your best. Know that what you do is needed and that everyone counts on you doing it well. My words today about treatment and about transformation are symbolic of the struggle that many have faced in their recovery. These individuals continue to encounter awkward problems, face difficult decisions, and often feel the stigma that those in recovery face from people who do not understand the nature of addiction. The fundamental belief that overcoming adversity, such as addiction and social dislocation, in my opinion, transforms lives. These lives then transform communities as agents of great social change. And we see great opportunities ahead, and it is with this look towards the future that we must acknowledge the extraordinary accomplishments that all of you and many of those in other treatment programs across the world continue to do every day. My recognition goes out to all of you who work in this industry, and especially to the staff and volunteers in all of these programs across the world. My recognition also goes out to the volunteers on the front lines who continue to change lives every day regardless of the obstacles that they face. You're all commended for that which you continue to do. You are indeed a credit to all of us. We're looking forward to the next 3 days for an engagement in successful dialogue and a successful conference. Thank you for listening to my comments.